All right, so today's video, we have a Silver 5 Pharah, Soldier, Echo, Reaper. What they really want to know this game is, how do you counter/play against Orisa? Now, obviously, Orisa will have different play styles and different ranks, etc. And the number one question is here, how do you deal with an Orisa? Well, just on paper, normally what I would say is you just have to get the cooldowns out and go from there. But the problem is that Orisa has a lot of cooldowns that come up very quickly. So let's find out and see what happens. Obviously, Pharah's switched a little bit now on, like, the playstyle. Although it seems like people are saying, like, Pharah's actually... The amount of damage you can do now is pretty good. And, like, I noticed that going against one yesterday, that it was I think, a Pharah only. And they were really taking advantage of the splash damage now. It was something. What you're doing right now is correct, by the way. You're not focused on the Orisa. You just shoot their backline. Make it annoying for their backline, and then go from there. That is the first step to playing against an Orisa, is if the Orisa ain't moving in on your team, then everybody else behind that Orisa is going to get rolled. Unless their cooldowns are out. Nice job so far. Like, against Orisa, it really is just seeing, did Orisa use gold? If so, do a bunch of damage to Orisa, which forces out the other cooldown. If Orisa doesn't use gold, you pretty much wait a second on gold, and then you go in. That's damage reduction. Get rid of the damage reduction, Orisa's not going to have a good time. A lot of Orisas, especially if you start shooting at them early, will spam that button. The problem is when Orisa starts to realize they can run into your backline. That becomes the number one problem. You're going to get rolled there. Make sure to ping people after they get you, by the way. When you're in that, like, death cam right there, you can ping people. Remember, you don't get fuel back the way you did. I know you just got away with that play, but you got to adjust that play style. Like, you're not going to get away with what you just did all the time when you play. You will get absolutely rolled. So far, this has had nothing to do with Orisa yet. Like, I say that now, but I do know University is coming up, which is also a good Orisa map, and then also, I think, it called Garden? And I think that map, too, is also pretty good for Orisa. So this is probably the map where you won't see Orisa get as much value because you can play these high grounds and spam the chokes. The other two maps, Orisa will definitely get more value, and you'll lose a little bit of value on Pharah. So far, it's just been fine. Like, I have nothing I can look at this and go, yeah, you're playing Pharah. Only thing I can really say is, remember your projectile aim, so you can aim a little bit ahead of them if you need to, and you'll be fine. But so far, so good. Remember now, shoot their backline. Just pressure their backline as much as you can for a second, and then look at Orisa's gold. If Orisa uses gold, which is a damage reduction, then you can be aggressive on Orisa to force out the other cooldowns. Ping the Zen, ping the Zen, ping the Zen. Go ahead and ping that Zen. Ping that Zen. You want to use your ping system so your teammates know there's a Zenyatta flanking on the side. All right, see that Zen that's right next to you? That's not your teammate. That Zen is not your teammate. That was not your teammate. I just want to point out that you and Zen were just, like, basically holding hands, and both of you did not go at each other. I see to point that out. You said ping people don't listen to your pings? You know what I'll say to that? I'd rather you get in the habit of using the ping system than not using the ping system, because someone on your team doesn't listen to your pings. It's a good habit to get into. You need to commit to it, a limb. Can you please kill the Zenyatta? Like, when you get a chance, can you just turn to that Zenyatta and kill the Zen, please? Okay. First of all, we need to stop for a second here, and I need to pause. Okay? First of all, your question was, what do we do against Orisa? Orisa has had zero impact on what you're doing right now at any point. I have seen zero impact from that Orisa on you that's affecting you from making these plays. You shoot one shot at Zenyatta, and then you go, have a nice day. I'm going to head out of here. I'll see you later. This Zenyatta should be back in spawn like 5 times now. This Zenyatta is basically ready to head back to spawn, and you just keep leaving the Zen there. Kill the Zen. Kill the Zen. Commit to killing the Zen. Commit to killing the Zen. Thank you. That's yes. There we go. I know they got you right there, but you could have done that like 10 times more. and you would have won this round. If you did that prior, you would have won that round. Had nothing to do with Orisa. So this is more about target focus for you. This has been more about target focus. Look at. That's just running back to point. So yeah, this game right there is purely you on target priority. Nothing else was an issue there outside of target priority. Now this map, I can see Orisa being a problem. All right, so as Echo, you want to play distance. Now you did the same thing as Pharah. Pharah kind of has more of an Echo play style now too, so you understand what you want to do here. Remember, the strength of your hero will be going to the backline with your teammates right now. Kill the Zen. Don't worry about Orisa. I feel like the number one thing I have for you right now is don't worry about Orisa unless Orisa becomes an issue. He doesn't use cover at all. What, the Echo? I mean, Echo doesn't have to use cover as much as other heroes. Like, you want to use cover, but like, I'm not expecting the Echo to hide behind walls the whole game. Good job forcing out cooldowns. All right, Orisa used. This is the time to get Orisa. Recognizing that, and there you go. That Orisa's gonna have so much fun. Now their cooldowns are back. But you have the right idea here, by the way. You see that? You ask how to deal with an Orisa. You see how Orisa used that cooldown we talked about? What happened to Orisa at that point? Can't keep up with the heals? Keep in mind, also, as a DPS player, you bring even more value to when that happens, right? You now add a 20% healing reduction to whoever you're shooting at for 2 seconds, and then it re-ups every time you do that damage. So remember, when you ask what can you do against an Orisa, when Orisa uses those cooldowns, you can make Orisa pretty much unhealable to a certain point to where like it's gonna be really hard to get them back to full HP without their teammates committing all their cooldowns. So remember that. Just ignoring the Echo on point, why not? Don't be afraid to go Orisa here. No, don't use ult. Do not use ult. Do not use ult. Do not use ult. Do not use ult. This would be a good non-use of an ult. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you make a sick play here and it was all worth it. Yep. Okay. Next lesson for people, because I've shown people this before. Options. Sound. Play sound when teammate eliminated. Turn this on. This will make it easier to make those decisions with ultimates. Turn that on, because then you know not to use your ultimate if you hear that sound. You said you've tuned it out. I do that too sometimes. Especially not being used to that from Overwatch 1. But there's a couple systems in place that they've added in Overwatch 2 that I think for a lot of Overwatch 1 players especially, it just takes a bit to get used to that because it didn't exist. Like the ping system. Like, I use the ping system a ton now, but I had a little bit of experience with, like, whenever I would play Apex for fun, like, I used ping systems, right? So I got used to that already. You just got rolled by a Mei. Anyway. Okay, so something you're doing right now, and this goes back to you asking about Orisa. Look at what you're doing. You're kind of keeping yourself out of the team fight right now. The backline doesn't have anything to worry about. I would go either Mei here. I'd probably go Mei. You can get Mei. You're fine. Actually, Orisa could work too now because you can just run through him. Although tank, you taking the tanks that's good stuff. I would just go Mei. Orisa or Mei. Those are your two targets right now to go. I think when you're up in numbers, going like the tank makes a lot more sense than if you're not up in numbers. If it's like the beginning of a team fight or like a survivability. Party frames is like if you play the PvE, you can kind of see your teammate's HP bottom left. So you kind of have information on your teammate's HP also, so you know whether or not to push in. I think it's good to have. I think having that in game is really good to have. Good job there, by the way. Yeah, party frames are definitely something that I think they'll add. Good morning, good morning. Why, when you aim, do you focus on your reticle or the enemy? I get asked that question all the time. You know what my answer to that is? I have no clue. I aim at people and then that's my play. I know that's not helpful at all, but like I've never really paid attention to that. I think whatever is your preference will work. And it's probably gonna work as long as you're focusing on why your aim misses sometimes, more than anything else. Going from lead Overwatch 1. It's tough for you, no party frames, map, or pings. Yeah, no, I understand no map. I still think that something beneficial to Overwatch, and I don't know if they'll ever add this in game. So far, so good here, by the way. I want to go back to this, just to back to the initial question, by the way, because we're talking about random stuff from the Spectating now. With Orisa, Orisa's been the least of your worries. If you do have problems with Orisa, it's all about getting gold out and then rolling the Orisa. But, like, your issue is target priority. It has nothing to do with Orisa. I want to point that out. I feel like one thing that could be beneficial to the game is, like, an overhead map view in-game of each map, so that way players can get, like, basic, like, names for locations on maps. So, like, callouts can become more universal. I think that'd be super key. Obviously, teams will kind of change, like, what they call spots, etc. But I think they should have an overhead, like, at least in the game. Not when you're playing a map. No mini-map or anything like that. But an overhead that players can use as, like, a resource. So they all have, like, basically names will... Yes. Like, more official callouts that players can look at a map and see the overhead view. Yeah, maybe you can show what health packs are. That'd be great. Simple map knowledge like that, I think, would be super helpful. And I still feel like... Watching your play here. You actually get the elim. Nice. Good job. I say get the elim there because all they had to do was do that. Okay, next time there, by the way, use your Javelin Spin. Javelin Spin gets rid of that damage from Reaper. You actually had an opportunity to Javelin Spin that away and then get the Reaper after. So that was a misplay by a little bit. Oh, yeah, specific... It's funny because you said Gavin mentioned that there. I think I've had a discussion with Gavin in the chat about the damage numbers. Also, don't stand still in a small hallway against an Orisa. All right, so your issue was the Orisa. Orisa's low. Okay, perfect. Now you want to fly up into their backline, go above them. Don't go into the ground. Don't go in the ground. Stop being a ground echo. All right, perfect. Okay, so yeah, this is going from, hey, you're worried about an Orisa to, hey, you're just not playing the correctly in a lot of areas that you could fix this by, like, go up to high ground, spam above for a second, get somebody to 60% HP. Yeah, get them to 50% HP is where the beam damage starts. Maybe you get them to 60%, you can't get them to 50, you start the beam, then you get the over damage, and then it goes to 50%, then you shred them. Go high ground. Don't play a ground echo. You're doing the same thing. This, once again, has nothing to do with Orisa. If you lose this game, it has zero to do with the Orisa right now. Good patience, good patience. Kill the pylon, kill the pylon, kill the pylon, kill the pylon. I would have gone with the pylon first, believe it or not. That pylon is still alive. The pylon is now dead. I would have killed the pylon right away because that will prevent the major heals from coming in. You waiting so long on the pylon was not the play. All right, yeah, this game for me has been kind of like an easy one for me to kind of look at. Your target priority is not good. Orisa had zero to do with why you lost this game. You need to focus on the backline pressure. If you want to kill an Orisa, pay attention to their cooldowns. Stop playing ground echo. Take advantage of the hero that you're playing on. Make plays. Like, that's what you want to do. If you just sit there and either play a really far distance, which can be fine on Pharah, but as Echo, if you're just sitting there doing nothing and then you're waiting on things to happen, it's going to feel like, oh, it must be the Orisa. This was not an Orisa issue. This was purely on your playstyle. And there's an adjustment to your playstyle. You do that, I think you'll be good to go. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to all three YouTubes if you haven't. If you want to submit your own Spectate, and look in the description below. My Discord's right there. That's where you do that. We record these live on stream. If you look below the webcam, you can see the Twitch chat there. We have a lot of fun here, so stop by if you haven't. And with that being said, hope you all have an amazing day/night.